Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of Baoruco in the Dominican Republic. First of all, I know that in Spanish it's spelled B-A-H-O or U-C-O, but it's not in English, so I'm spelling it this way. So I see more sources spelling it with the H, but it's neither here nor there. It's the same place with the same pronunciation regardless. So we're here in the Dominican Republic, and I'm going to start by zooming out so you can see exactly where we are in the world. The Dominican Republic is located on the island of Hispaniola, along with Haiti. You can see over here. Haiti is on this side. Dominican Republic is on this side. And we are in the Caribbean. You can see Cuba is just over here. There's the beautiful Bahamas. Puerto Rico is over here. There's Jamaica. And the Lesser Antilles Islands as well. Turks and Caicos, it says up there. And there you can see Florida poking in to frame there. So we are in a very tiny area on a small island, so I don't have a map for you tonight. We're just playing on the tablet. And it's pretty cool because this is an interesting place. You can see from above that we have quite a lot of mountains here. This is the Sierra de Baoruco, which goes down through here, even into a bit of Haiti as well. And the Sierra de Baoruco is very famous for one thing, which unfortunately is not found in Baoruco province, but fortunately is found in Barahona, where we're going to go next week. So not next video, but the video after, we'll talk about Barahona. So we'll learn a lot more about it there. So be sure to subscribe now, because we're going to want to learn about it. But what is it anyway? It is that there is a stone, a beautiful stone that is only found in the Dominican Republic and is only found in these mountains. It is called Larimar, and it's one of my favorite stones. And I have a picture of it here. I think you're probably going to see the rhinos from the last episode first. If you want to know about the rhinos, subscribe and watch my last video. But this is Larimar, which is just absolutely stunning. It looks like the ocean in rock form, doesn't it? You can only find this stone in the Sierra de Baoruco in the Dominican Republic. And we'll go in a lot more next week in 2 episodes about the mining industry for this stone, because it's a little complicated. Be sure to subscribe now. But this is, that province does not have Larimar in it. So what does it have? It has the mountains. It has probably my favorite geographical feature of the Dominican Republic, Lake Enriquillo, which I believe is the largest lake in the Dominican Republic. And it has a lot of fun geography facts about it. And if you know me, you know I'm all about the fun geography facts. So one of the fun facts about Lake Enriquillo is that it is a saltwater lake, very inland, and that really has to do with a lot of evaporation, sciencey things I don't quite understand. Usually when you have salt lakes, there was salt pans. It's probably why there were salt pans, and enough rain created a depression that created a lake, I suppose. But usually, if it's near an ocean, it's because this all was once underwater and this land came up. So it's one or the other, but I think it's the first one. Second geographic fact is that it is the lowest point in the Caribbean. Very, very low. It's always lakes that are the lowest point on places, isn't it? Except like Death Valley, but you know what I mean. The third geography fun fact is that this lake has the Caribbean's largest population of saltwater crocodiles. Yes, this lake here, which you see it's not far from water. Not a lot of places in the Dominican Republic are. But it's not close to the water. It's not near the beach, but it's full of saltwater crocs. And probably the more interesting geographic fact, number 4, is that in recent years, Lake Enriquillo has been rising. Now, for lakes, that's usually not super strange, but the strange thing about Lake Enriquillo is that it does not have any major inlets. There are some little streams and things that go into this lake, but there's no major river feeding this lake. So how is it growing? How is the water level rising in this lake? Well, it's believed that the things underground, the silt, the dirt, what have you, have been piling up and is forcing the water to go up, which isn't a very exciting answer. We want it to be something really bizarre, but maybe that's not the answer, and it is something bizarre. It's something to keep an eye on. Lake Enriquillo, named after a Taino resistance fighter against the Spanish, by the way. Lake Enriquillo, love Lake Enriquillo. But you can see here that the province is pretty much mountains, with very few little streams here and there. You can see the ones going into the lake here. And you can see this big valley here that has lots of beautiful farmland. Look at this little patchwork here. They grow all kinds of stuff here. They grow coffee, which was introduced in the 1800s, kind of late in the Dominican Republic's history. They grow bananas. They grow cacti, pretty much any tropical thing you can think of. But they also grow, how did I just blank on grapes? That's the word. It's like the yummy things. Grapes. I love grapes, by the way. I could eat grapes for like an entire meal. Just give me a bowl of grapes and I'm set. The interesting fact about that, though, is that these grapes were brought over by none other than Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus introduced the grapes that grow in this province, you can see here. Which I know, boo, we hate Christopher Columbus. I get it. I'm just stating a fact. He's the one. He brought him on his second voyage to the Caribbean. And those grapes still grow here today. You can see the largest city here. I kind of want that to go away so I can see the city. What if we just like do this? There we go. Is Neiba. And there's different ways of spelling Neiba as well. But of course it's not a big old bustling city. It's a little tiny mountainous farming region, but you can see that this province here is really big on ecotourism. You can see the grapes there. Ecotourism is the concept that you can have your tourist adventures without damaging the environment. So it's a very sustainable way of enjoying your surroundings. There's an ostrich. Here's the grapes. Yum. Oh my gosh, I would just pick all these up and eat them. So this area is very catered to tourists and very green and lush in the places where there are the farms. Other major towns here are Villa Jaragua, and over here we have Los Rios. This is a pretty slideshow. La Furnia. Which, look at this. Would you swim in this? Knowing what I know about the crocodiles, I don't know if I could swim in any part of Lake Enriquillo. But it does look pretty inviting. And this one doesn't quite. It looks a little swampy to me, but the little pools are very relaxing looking, and they're the color of marmar. Big cacti growing there along the shore. It's such a strange lake. I guess like top 5 strange lakes. You've got Lake Baikal, Lake Enriquillo. What else? What else do you think is a strange lake? I guess Loch Ness, technically, right? So this land, of course, were ruled by the Taino. The Taino being a indigenous Caribbean population who thrived on the entirety of Hispaniola. And we have the name Jaragua because that was the main tribe that lived in this area. When this town was established, they called it Barbacoa, which just made me really hungry. But now it has a more appropriate name. Of course, the Spanish would come thanks to Christopher Columbus. He personally hurt the Taino community permanently. And with the waves of Spanish coming and establishing their base here in Santo Domingo, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump away, the Taino lifestyle was ruined forever. Now, a lot of people say, well, the Taino are extinct, which technically is not true because many of them intermarried with other Europeans, and you can still find people of Taino descent today. You'd just be hard-pressed to find someone who's 100% Taino, because, of course, many of them were killed by diseases brought by Europeans, in particular smallpox, and many of them were captured and overworked. It's a very sad story about the Taino. This area would play an even bigger role in the history of the Dominican Republic, though. In 1844, this time, Haiti had conquered the entire island. They felt it was their right. But I also feel like the two powers, because the French were over here and the Spanish were over here, I feel like both groups felt that they had the right. But Haiti gained its independence very famously through slave revolt. I felt like they should just keep going over the mountains. Among lots of other reasons. I don't want to get political about it, but both sides of the island were not getting along, and Haiti invaded quite brutally, and the Dominicans began to fight for their freedom, and one of those battles happened right here in Neiba on March 13th, 1844, and it was called the Battle of the Baptism of Blood, which sounds like a lot, and I'm sure it very much was. And it was one of the large turning points in the Independence War, and the Dominicans managed to fight off the Haitians and establish independence. And this line here separating the two countries has been very contentious, is still very contentious today. But that's just facts. I'm not stating either side. I'm not saying one side is right, one side is wrong. I believe in peace and that all people are the same and we should all love each other. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm just stating history facts. But essentially, that was all of the history I can find that happened here in Baoruco. Let me try to find one more slideshow for you. I think Los Rios had a good slideshow. And of course, if you want to poke around and see all the little eco-lodges and campsites and things here, they all have very pretty slideshows as well. It's just that they're all the same. So, beautiful sunflower, beautiful baby's breath, little carnations, I think. Maybe I'll show you one of them. Ooh, he caught a fish. Ooh, is this a scary cave? I don't do scary caves. Oh, wow. Rushing water there. Beautiful hillsides along the mountains. Some wild berries. I don't think this was the slideshow I wanted to show you. This is a lot of pretty flowers and things and trees. But this wasn't it. Maybe it was this one. Lake Enriquillo in Los Rios. Maybe this was the one I wanted to show you. It's good old Lake Enriquillo. Croc warning there, I bet. Los Cachones. No swimming. That guy looked kind of upset that there's no swimming. See, this is like the kind of thing I think of when I think of Lake Enriquillo, because you have this beautiful landscape, but then it's just all dead around it because it's salt water and it pretty much kills anything that it touches. There's a friend here. Do you see him? Little iguana. But yeah, that is this sleepy little corner of the Dominican Republic that, from what I can tell in research, people just, live their little lives here, farming and doing everyday things, nothing too extreme or anything. And that many Dominicans and people around the Caribbean come here to enjoy some ecotourism. Yeah, this is what I think of when I think Lake Enriquillo. I think lots of dry, dead things around this lake in the middle of paradise. Let's find a nice mountainy slideshow to close out the video. Let's see what we can find. El Silencio. Wow. Oh my goodness, how beautiful. Oh wow. How fantastic. What a view. Hispaniola is such an incredible island. You have every kind of landscape here. Wow. Big rolling mountains here. Makes me miss California. But that's where we're going to end the video for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned something cool tonight, give this video a thumbs up. Let me know what you learned down in the comments. And if you enjoy this style of content, please consider subscribing. Because next in the series, we're hopping over to Montenegro, where we're going to see yet another interesting lake near a very interesting coastal area. I guess that's what they have in common. But we're going to see some neat stuff. Do you want to see what could possibly be the world's oldest olive tree? Well, if you do, make sure you are subscribed so you won't miss out. I hope that you found this video to be relaxing and educational, and I hope that you have a good night. Good night.